Welcome in to another episode of the My Two Bits Gator Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by our other host, Mr. Randy. How are things up in Gainesville tonight, Randy? Is everybody staying off the antidepressants after today, or how we doing?
I hope so, man. There's a lot of noise. It's cold, so good thing people are talking about the temperature more so. But uh, interesting day. Not what I think a lot of people expected or anticipated, and it stinks. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But hopefully, we're not wavering too bad.
Yeah, I really hope not. And I know the kind of the narrative on this thing is going to be the fall, and all the
Yep.
people we lost and yada yada yada. I'll be honest, we didn't lose anybody I didn't expect to lose today, with the exception maybe of Isaiah Williams. Though actually, when I looked into that, he was actually expected to flip too. I just didn't know about it. I don't really care. He's a three-star receiver. It's fine. We're not short of receiver talent, so we'll talk a
You
little about
know,
that. But it's not a big deal to me that he you know flipped today. So the ones that were kind of more expected happened, and uh and then we got flips today. Then nobody seems to be talking about that. We flipped two guys today, and nobody
no,
seems to
right?
really be talking about that. So it's like, okay, we lost two, we flipped two. So what's the big deal? Like, I don't know. I think everybody's making a big deal about it because they weren't necessarily ranked as highly. Even though they were both four stars versus two four stars versus two four stars, right? and
Yeah.
so in theory we replaced two with two more, but because their rankings weren't overall the same. It's not coming out of the wash that way. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So before we
Yeah.
get too deep in the weeds here, let's kind of walk through this and give you a little breakdown. For every pod, we always go through and give you our mission, our vision, and our agenda. So for this pod, the agenda is going to be very different than what we traditionally do. We are going to walk through some different topics as it relates to signing day to day, as we've talked about. But first, as for every pod, our mission is to provide factual analysis of all things Gator football, all things today being recruiting, right? And then our vision is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field as well as recruiting. There it is, and overall coaching decisions. Our analysis will be based on review of film, evaluation of strategy and tactics, and observation of player personnel decisions, and on the field execution. Excuse me. For today's agenda, we are going to go through a few different topics. So first off, we're going to kind of go through the NIL landscape and our thoughts on that, as it currently stands today. And I think that's going to be super important for those who don't know kind of how things are working with this right now and how Florida is actually maybe not working the same way. And I think that's important to note, and not in a bad way for the record. Though it may be hurting us, I don't think it's a bad thing. So we'll get back to that in a minute. We'll then talk about the overall class ranking, which we were just discussing, right, and how much it did fall. And then we'll do a player breakdown and analysis of who actually did sign with us today, including the transfers that have committed so far during the portal period thus far. And there are actually four of them, including one that we picked up today. And then we will go through and kind of look at what we think we still need, both from a transfer class perspective, but also just like what do we need from a recruiting standpoint going forward. Obviously, this class is more or less done at this point. But just going forward, what else do we need, and what else kind of can we do to maybe make this a little less attrition going into the future? I don't know that I have those answers, but we'll discuss it, and then we'll finish things up with a wrap up. So, having said that, let's get things started and let's talk about the NIL landscape as it sits today. And I'm really interested in having this discussion with you. I know you have a really interesting kind of first person story on this, so I'd turn it over to you and let you tell that.
For sure, for sure. And you see, and this is what's tough, be in a couple of senses. NIL, name, image, likeness. Pandora's box got opened a couple of years ago,
Oh, yeah.
and there's no answer for it. There's no recourse for it. Is it
Not
pay
right
for
now.
play? Right? Is it pay for play? Is it NIL? What is it? Do we want a guy to do an endorsement deal with the nutrition company, or do we just want to give him some money and say, "Oh yeah, we'll work that out later"? That's what I think is so tough about this landscape, because there is a clearly defined right and wrong. However, you look at the enforcement of it,
Correct.
you look at the follow through of it from different levels and different states and their interpretations and the representation that's coming from it. It's just really tough to navigate. I say that to say, in talking with another coach from another program, uh, they were involved in the recruitment of a top player. Okay.
Well, so
And
just to clarify, this is another Gator program, just to be clear.
yeah,
Right.
within the Gator Nation,
Okay.
another sports program. And, top player, for all intents and purposes, enjoyed the visit, enjoyed the campus, enjoyed the experiences, enjoyed the weather. Said, okay, great, coach, this makes a lot of sense, blah, blah, blah. Going back and forth, multiple visits, multiple opportunities. Nothing ever, ever, ever was mentioned about compensation. Hey, this is what we're doing with Florida Victorious. Okay, great. Boom, boom. Next thing you know, when it came time to finalize and sign, player goes, the prospect goes, hey, coach, really looking forward to come play for the University of Florida, represent the Gators. I've liked everything I've heard so far and I've seen. Last piece of business is I need $150,000 deposited into my bank account next week to finalize. Coach says, huh, you know what? We're not going to do that. Prospect says, okay, thanks, coach, but I think that in lieu of that, I'll be considering some other schools now.
Taking my talents to South Beach. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Right. Not one, not two. No, okay. No, but that's the thing, right? That's the thing. You have a coach in a program who stood firm and didn't necessarily give in and just gave quote unquote the bag. And that's what I think is interesting, right? Is I don't know if I want to say this on record, but it just seems like some other programs might not be following the same compass.
Right. And I think I think might not is clearly a stretch because I think are not is definitive at this
Yeah,
point, right? I mean, I'm
yeah,
sorry, but it is because the kid doesn't come and ask for that if he hasn't been offered it, right? I mean, it's just how it works, right? We've all
exactly.
if you haven't seen the movie Blue Chips, right? Now's the time to go watch that because that's exactly what's going on now. Um, then it was illegal and you could get caught and get busted. Now you can't because nobody can do anything about it, right?
Right.
So I love this story because this is a real story. This really happened. Obviously, we're not naming names, but this is a real story and this really happened, and it's a great example of what is happening currently in college athletics. And to Randy's point and what he brought up, the rules as written by the NCAA, which is still the governing body, whether they have power or not, which they
Right.
don't, for the record, they do not, and that's the problem. They have no power, but they're
No.
still the governing body. And the rules say that you cannot do this stuff. You are not allowed to offer a cash compensation up front to say, hey, come play here. That is totally against the rules. It's happening every day. It happened a bunch today, let me assure you. Right. And this is what's going on. Now Scott Strickland has gone on the record. I will name a name here. He has gone on the record more than once in interviews that I have heard in saying Florida will not do this. Florida is not going to do this as a university. Now, I should specify as a university. In other words, coaches, you know, people associated with the university. They are not going to break these rules. They are going to follow the rules as they are written. Scott Strickland is very much about culture, integrity, right? Being of good character. That's why he hires people like Billy Napier. That's why he hires people like Todd Golden. He's very much about those type of people being a part of this program and this organization. And what I will tell you is that he's not going to stand for that. And that's why I would say that I think that the coach who is in question here in your story said exactly those things. I'm not going to do that. Right? That's not what we do here. And that's really important to keep in mind when we look at this because there are absolutely coaches out there that are doing it. That I mean, the proof's in the pudding. You saw it today, right? Um, how do you think Georgia at the 11th and a half hour flips KJ Bolden out of Florida State, who's been committed for months, and rock solid and recruiting teammates and recruiting other school and yada yada, all that stuff. 11th and a half hour, Georgia flips him. I do not believe that is just great recruiting out of Kirby. I just don't believe it for a second. There are things that are going on in the world right now because of this stuff that are absolutely just below board, and there's no other way to say it. But again, there's no enforcement. But Scott Strickland doesn't care. He's not going to play that game. Now, again, what's happening in the NIL world strictly from an NIL perspective, right? What Florida Victorious as an organization is doing, because that's separate from the university, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. So am I sitting here and saying that that's not happening with anything to do with the University of Florida? No, I don't know that. But I'm saying that is my belief and understanding based on everything that I have heard that our coaches are not participating in that kind of stuff. They're really not supposed to be talking about it at all, for the record. But it's not supposed to be separate. But at the end of the day, that stuff is really not happening. And I think that's important because, one, I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm glad that we're doing it. But at the same time, I think it hurts us. And right now, anyway. Now, that's the short run. I think in the long run, things will get figured out here. We'll get some kind of better system in place. I do believe that will happen. To your point, right now it's Pandora's box. Anything goes. And that's a shame for the time being. But I don't think this will last deep into the future. I think you're going to see some kind of regulations probably going to come out of Congress. I've already heard rumors. And I don't know that will really get us to a better place necessarily. But at the end of the day, it's going to be some kind of regulation that we will have and potentially be able to, do something with to help regulate this and actually have some rules that are enforceable. So be interesting to see what happens. But that's kind of, I think, where we stand right now. And it's going to be a really important thing for everybody to keep in mind that we're not playing necessarily on the same playing field as a lot of these other teams out there right now. I really don't think that we are. And it's not because we don't have the money. It's because we're not spending it with the same ethical standards, if you will. So any other thoughts on that before we move on?
No, you see, and okay, be great points, and that's what I think is tough too, because there's a lot of heat on Napier.
Yep.
Probably the same, if not more, on Strickland.
Yep.
And I tell you what, in the 7 to 8 seasons he's been here, we've got new facilities, we've got state-of-the-art facilities now, which of course we were lagging behind before. Get that. We have championship golf teams. We have championship tennis teams, cross country, track, all the soccer. I mean, the list goes on and on. But at the end of the day,
baseball,
sorry,
World Series
baseball,
again,
yep. big trip to Omaha, right?
Yep.
And that's the other thing too. You look at all of those accolades and all the other things that are being compiled in a roundout standpoint, and there's still all this heat, and it's just amazing to me. There's no more patience. There is no more, okay, let's see. Okay, we're trying to do it the right way. We're bringing in a system. We're bringing in culture. We're bringing in foundational things, not just over the next 3, 4, 5 years, but for the next 30 years, 40 years, whatever the number. And I feel like with that, and great, we were 3, then we slipped to 6, then 8, then 10, then 16, and then everyone is just so upset over it. And it's just like, okay, I get it. But at the end of the day, it's spilt milk and we don't have enough brownie paper towel to clean it up. Guess what? Let's just see how this thing goes. At the end of the day, the only thing you can do is work with what you have to try and get better. These are the cards that we got dealt. And I'm sure Napier and the staff are trying to do their best. It's like herding cats, right? To corral all this stuff. Everyone at Florida Victorious, all the legal team. I mean, good Lord, could you imagine what they've been through the past week and change, right? So anyways, not justifying, more of an explanation, right? Explanation, not justification. Things happen for a reason.
Yep. So I hear you. And again, it is tough. I think one of the things that this class is going to show us is that he is going to have to do some more work in the portal, at least in the short term, than things that he's done before. because I think this is what we're going to be faced with until something does change, at least to a degree. Maybe not as severe as it was this year. Obviously, we did better last year with some of this stuff than we did this year, despite the Rashada debacle. But at the end of the day, this isn't where you want to land, and I do think you have to put some onus of that on the coach. I'm not trying to give Billy a free pass here. Don't take it the wrong way. But at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
end of the again, when you look at it, when this is how everything is set up and done, and the field you're playing on, it's not level. It's not level right now in any way, and that's an important thing to keep perspective on. So with that, let's move it on. Let's kind of look here at the overall class ranking. You kind of mentioned it. Let's talk a little more about it. Go ahead and walk us through where we ended up here. Again, we use On3 for our kind of guide to this. Depending on where you look, we're something in this neighborhood. But they've got us ranked different places if it's ESPN or 247 or whatever. But it's all right around the same. So go ahead and walk us through where we're at as of right now. And again, the dust hasn't all settled on this. There's couple more days to signing period, so not sure where it's all going to finalize out. But this is where it is right now. So go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, you be so here's what's tough for me, right? Here's what's tough for me. I get it. I get it. Amaris Williams, flip. Darius Hayes, flip. Flipsamy, sorry. It is what it is. We know what happened today. We know, week before what happened with Walker and Mac and Johnson. We get all that, right? But the slippage from 3 to 8 to 10 to now we're sitting somewhere around 16.
Yep.
It's tough, and we have 4 top 100 players. That's
Yep.
just tough. It's
And
definitely not what we
eight top 300 too.
right. It's not what we wanted, duh. But to your point, it's just not the same playing field. And for those of you who I saw some other comments today on some of the guys streaming and this, that, and the other. But remember that people are saying this is Napier's third class. May I please interject an asterisk? Napier set foot in Gainesville.
Yep.
December 5th, 2021.
Yep.
So he and the team had limited time to put together first class, right?
Yeah, very limited time for sure.
So again, I'm not going based off technicality, but how can you truly say this is his third recruiting class?
I agree.
That's just really tough for me to bear. So that's why, again, not justifying, just explaining from a hopefully a more logical point in seeing where these cards have fallen. When you look at going back to this NIL resources and the amount of dollars allocated to the program, the way in which we've gone about recruitment. Because when you look at what happened, I'm going to go back real quick to Princely and Trevor. Poaching. Yep. Okay. Didn't even declare transfer portal, but yet, boy, those other schools were on them like white on rice on a paper plate in a snowstorm. So again, I get it. We've slipped to 16, but still, we've got a lot of great pieces there. And my main thing is dust hasn't settled. There's more work to be done.
And I love where you finished that at, because that's what I'm going to focus on here. Really, is that yes, we fell due to the flips, but I'm really happy with the players that we have signed, and that's what I want to stay focused on here. And I think what we are going to focus on here for most of the rest of this show is really, talking about the talent that we have gained. And while yes, it may have been lessened to a degree, the strategic positional gains of this class are super strong in my opinion. And I'll kind of talk more about what we mean by that as we go through and kind of do our player review here. But overall, the places we've picked up talent, either in volume of players or talent of player, are really, really good. It's a super well balanced class overall, has gains at almost every position across the board, and really addresses positions of need on the team in very good ways. So I'm super happy with what we do have. I understand it may not have been what we wanted overall. And I understand it's important to stack talent, right? That matters. It matters to have talent go, what is it? That somebody was saying it earlier. You know, the
Oh, you
blade
mean
blade sharpens, blade sharpens another blade, right? Good, good, good on good is better, right? When you have that, right? And I get that.
yeah,
There's an expression there that I'm missing, and I can't remember what it is, but um,
iron sharpens iron, man.
yeah, the iron sharpens iron. That is what it is. And that's really what it comes down to, right? The more of that you have, the better off you are from a depth standpoint, from a talent building standpoint. And I understand all of that. But having said that, I'm still happy with what we have gotten out of this. And I'm not ecstatic, obviously. There would be other things, but considering what we had to deal with from this NIL standpoint, I think, again, we have to keep that in mind. So, with that, let's get into and talk about this player breakdown and analysis of what we're going to bring into UF, including the transfers. We're going to talk about everybody. That's 22 players. So let's break it down. Starting with Mr. Lagway. A lot of smoke on this one the last few days. Man alive. USC came in. A&M came in. We had Clemson a few days back that was talking. There was all kinds of stuff about, man, the NIL deals, and apparently USC put together a monster NIL deal trying to get him out there. And again, when we're saying that, what does that mean? Does that mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in a bag? I don't know. I don't know. But, it makes you really wonder, right? But DJ stayed very true to his word that he's been true to since last December, right? He's been locked in as a Gator this whole time. I love that he's coming. Excited to have him. He is signed overall 10th ranked player in the nation per On Three. He is a 5-star plus rated guy. So, not many of those 5-star plus rated guys out there, but he is one.
Mhm.
And by the way, just got awarded the Max Preps Best High School Player in the country for this season. That's right, number one by Max Preps. So very interesting, an amazing senior season. Brandy's got some stats on that. He'll give you in a minute. My breakdown here: dynamic dual threat QB with a very powerful arm, but still very accurate. Solid in his size at 6'3" and 225. He can run hard and fast, and he's also durable. Future of UF football, to put it simply. That's all it is. This is the biggest get in the class, though it is close with the next guy, and it means an absolute ton. He has the potential to be an elite level college quarterback from everything we are seeing on film and really make UF, frankly, a national contender again. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. This is the guy that can really bring things back to where, all Gator fans would like to see it, right? I mean, we'll have a conversation in another pod about what is appropriate expectations, maybe that maybe we often want a little more, but that's a whole other conversation. The point of the story is this DJ's looks absolutely amazing. Had an absolutely incredible senior season. Rose up the ranks. He went to Elite 11. He didn't perform that well. For those that don't know, Elite 11 is the top quarterbacks in the country in high school get invited to a camp before their senior season. He went there. He didn't have the best. He wasn't the worst, but he didn't have the best showing. And so there was kind of some talk of, is he really going to live up to some of the hype and everything else? Then he goes out in the senior season and just balls out, absolutely kills it for Willis, and it just has an amazing season. So with that, I'll turn it over and get your thoughts on Mr. Lagway.
No, man, great breakdown. Overall, my main thing is here's the thing. He had some stupid games. I mean, just almost like
Yeah, he did.
Madden-esque, right? It was like me
Yeah,
playing
for
against my
real.
son. Um, threw for 4,600 plus yards, 58 touchdowns in the air, rushed for just under 1,000, and 15 on the ground, 15 touchdowns on the ground, right, for Willis.
Yeah,
And pretty much broke Greg McElroy's record for touchdowns this season in the state of Texas, right? So that's a
yep.
big get.
For
The
passing
thing that
touchdowns, yes.
Yeah, for passing. The thing that I'll echo here is people need to understand something about DJ Lagway, and I think this is probably one of the unsung things. Graham Mertz came in, and we needed someone to be a field general. We needed leadership. We needed confidence, quiet confidence. We needed those things. I see a lot of that in DJ Lagway that I don't think people realize. He's
Yep.
young. Yeah, of course he's young. Duh. Am I trying to hype him up? Not necessarily. For people who don't realize, this kid committed in December of 22,
That's right.
not 23, December of 22. So a couple things to describe that. commitment, dedication, faith,
Loyalty.
loyalty. How'd you know that was next? Promise. you know? And that's the thing when you look at what leadership is, leadership's a lot of things, but it encompasses a lot of those words. And I think that's going to be a really good fit. And that's why I think he and Napier click so well. That's why I think he came back to Gainesville as much as he did. When you look at the
Yeah.
surrounding and him being immersed in that culture. So all good things pointed for the future there. Again, and with Grain Cracker coming back this fall, DJ's just going to be there like a sponge, just soaking it all in for when he's ready to take the helm. And hopefully we get the opportunity to see him on the field with a design play or 2 or 10. But either way, all good things all around. I'll stop there.
No, 100%. And a year to learn the system without having to trial by fire learn the system, right?
Yeah.
As a freshman, I couldn't be happier with the way this is setting up. This is one of those examples we're talking about. This is the talent that you want coming in at the position. It's absolutely outstanding. It's a perfect fit. And one thing I didn't mention, whether Napier stays as the coordinator or not, odds are you're going to keep some kind of similar scheme, at least somewhat similar to what he's running now. And having a true dual threat quarterback makes this offense better. Period. No question about it. When you look at when he was most successful at Louisiana, he had a dual threat quarterback. No question. Offensively most successful. That's what he had. So at the end of the day, there is no doubt in my mind that having a dual threat quarterback, especially a accurate one, no offense to the very well esteemed AR. I'm not calling him inaccurate overall. I'm just saying his season here was a little rough. But when we look at it, that is going to be immensely valuable. And something else that's really valuable is the ability to throw the deep ball. And he has a monster arm. So that's going to be really, really important. Those things fit perfectly into this system. He is just going to fit like a glove into what we want to do here. So really, really good stuff. We're going to, obviously, these first two guys are going to be ones that we talk about a lot more. We're not going to spend as much time on the rest of this class, but these first two are big, right? And with that, we'll move on to the next one, which is Mr. LJ McCray. Also, a lot of smoke on this one today. Just, geez, man, we didn't know what happened. He didn't end up signing with the class. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we had to get the NIL deal right. I don't know what the deal was, right? But at the end of the day, whatever the delay, he did end up signing this evening about 6 o'clock. Things came through, got together, and here is the other 5-star in the class. And he is a 5-star, number 23 overall ranked player. And frankly, that'll actually come up substantially when Rivals gets their ranking, right? Because that is like the composite. And he is lower because of his Rivals ranking being way down, which the other 3 recruiting services have him much higher. But he's 23rd overall because of that. So he would actually rise significantly if Rivals changes his ranking, which very well could happen before we get all said and done. But anyway, having said that, he is an absolute monster off the edge. Um, NFL size and speed, without question. He is the prototypical guy that you're going to see just from his high school film and measurables that translates to the NFL basically day one. Obviously, he can't go play as an 18-year-old, but nonetheless, he looks the part in every way. He should be able to play freshman season easily. I don't see there's any reason why he won't. May even start. Who knows? he's potentially that good, right? The get of this is huge. The gains we want to see right on the D line from a pass rush standpoint, from an edge standpoint, right? All those things we talked about this year that are crucial, right? Especially in AA's setup and defense and everything else. We're talking about an absolute rock star at that position based on the size and the speed and the film that we have on him. If you got a minute, go look up the pick 6 he had at the end of the season this year. He came through the line, picked off what was effectively more or less a lateral pass, just jumped up and snagged it as he was coming through the line and just ran it right into the touch for a touchdown. I mean, just ridiculous play. It's absolutely absurd to have the awareness to see that ball coming across as he went through the line. Like, just, I mean, I cannot tell you how thrilled I am that we landed this one. I was really worried there for a minute that we were not going to. When he delayed signing this morning, I was like, oh no, because I just had this nasty feeling that something was going wrong. But hey, whatever it was that needed to be worked out got worked out. We've got him. He's signed. We are good to go. Couldn't be happier. Massive get on the defensive line. Between these two guys, the talent level of this team is elevated tremendously, in my opinion, just with these two guys. So, really good stuff. Your thoughts on McCray?
Man, really good wrap up, B. I don't have whole lot more to add except for what I mentioned in our season preview. I was really excited about some of the size that we had, but some of the size that we have doesn't translate well when it comes to mobility, agility, and in seeing what he's been able to do on the field at 6'6", so he's Michael Jordan's height, and at 260 pounds.
Yeah.
That's a lean 6'6" that can get after you real quick.
Yep.
Real quick. So whatever happened, I agree with you. I mean, I want to say, not down to the second, but I want to say he delayed the announcement until like 5:45, 5:46. Either way, you want to talk about smoke? My lungs, I'm still coughing it up, man. Good Lord. It was really interesting what he said on the live stream, right? Thank you all for being along my journey. I didn't even know I was going to sign today or not, but after a lot of thinking, a lot of praying, I think I'm making the right decision on where I want to go for the next few years. Look at the push that he got, right? You look at the push he got from Auburn, from FSU, from Georgia, from it was just unreal. And man, when we saw that heading come out, oh, McCray might delay a signing. Like, you got to be kidding me. What is it now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just really, really tough to hear, tough to read, tough to see. But in talking to some of my crew, my officiating crew from high school football, they played against Vanguard in the Class 3S state semifinals back about 3 weeks ago. And some of the guys on that crew, the line judge especially, said, boy, he is as advertised. Really quick, really disciplined. It's just amazing to see. You know how you can tell with certain people just how they jump off the line? He said he's got it. The way that it's not a jump, it's a pop. It's like a burst of energy that comes off that line. So I'm just really excited to see that unfold, go into the mix, and just really be a part of Gator Nation. I agree with you. I think it's a huge get. We can't even begin to explain the significance of this kind of a get, this kind of a talent, with everything that he can bring. And when good old Double A gets his hands on him and involves him into that scheme, with a couple of key people coming back and Justice Boone and the others. Anyways, sorry, getting ahead of myself.
I hear you. No, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. These two at the top here are they're really exciting to talk about, man. That's not to take away from the rest of this class, because again, we'll get into the rest of them here now. But I mean, these two at the top are a big deal, and it matters. You know, when you get two guys inside the top 25, I mean, that's a big deal. We haven't had two guys inside the top 25 in a really long time, right? That's what it comes down to. Even last year's class, as good as it was, and it was a solid class, we didn't have two guys inside the top 25. I don't think we had any guys inside the top 25. I'd have to go back and look it up, but I don't believe we did. So now we got two. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal, and it matters. And it's one on each side of the ball at very obviously important positions on each side of the ball. So it's huge. It's huge. So with that, let's move on. Next ranked out guy is Mr. Miles Graham, linebacker. Now notice, third guy on the list is a linebacker, and we're going by overall position rank here. Big deal, because we need linebackers. So he is a 4-star overall, 61st ranked player in the country per on 3. He's, of course, a legacy commit, Mr. Ernest Graham's son. He's been bought in since very early on in the recruiting process. He was also the first one to sign. There was zero smoke on this one. And he brings a lot of talent and to a much needed spot for talent need on the roster at meaning linebacker, right? And he'll give us an upgrade of speed and athleticism at this position once he learns the system. And I think he's going to be a real weapon for AA. I mean, I think that when you look at the physicality and the speed that he possesses, he's going to be a player, man. I mean, he once again, so this is going to be a theme that we'll talk about. Guys that had great senior seasons in this class. DJ Lagway's certainly on that list without question. McCrae's, I mean, he's been good kind of all along, but he certainly had a good senior season and won a state championship. Miles Graham, great senior season. So I'll turn it over to you. What you got on Miles?
Yeah, no, well said. Legacy guy. That's awesome. It's great to see legacy guys. I did see him play against Ponte Vedra High in a district game. Really, really great kid. A lot of pop on the ball, a lot of movement. He's quick. But the other thing, too, I like what he did because obviously today was today, but they had a great little ceremony planned at Buchholz High School, the local high school here, yesterday. And to hear the things that he said about the people that paved his way, to give props to his coaches, props to the family, props to the community, props to his dad, very classy. That was the first thing that came across my radar, was the fact of he's got the talent, he's got the speed. Obviously, the ranking is what the ranking is as a 5-star, but classy kid. Seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders, wants to do well, wants to hold up that Graham name well. So really, really looking forward to him coming in and doing some great things for the Orange and Blue. No doubt. No
Yeah,
doubt.
we'll
100%.
lose 1 Graham after next year and replace him with another. Just first name for a
Yeah,
last
right.
name, right? Yeah, there you go.
Fair.
All right, good deal. Next on the list is Mr. Amir Jackson, tight end, 4-star overall, 89th ranked player out of Portal, Georgia. Standout tight end here, who will bring more athleticism to the position in the tight end room, which is again something that we're in need of. So you're going to keep hearing this theme, right? Things we're in need of that we got, right? So again, I think we did a really good job at addressing those positions of need, as I have said. Should be more pass catching focused here. I know we've kind of gotten some of that with Boardingham, and then even with Hayden right down the stretch. But
Yep.
if you look at it, we still don't really have like a standout pass catching tight end, in my opinion. I mean, Boardingham did borderline, right? No pun intended. But if you really look at it, we don't have the guy who's like, almost a receiver, but he's just big bodied, right? That's Amir Jackson when you look at him. Excellent basketball player, 3-sport athlete in high school. He will need to learn the blocking schemes. I'm not saying he can't block, but that's something he's definitely going to have to learn, because that is a very important component in Napier's offense. Again, I think regardless of coordinator, I keep saying that because of course I want a coordinator, but I think he could be a really great offensive weapon. I see the potential for Kyle Pitts-esqueness here. I'm not saying he's Kyle Pitts by any stretch of the imagination. However, he has those kind of traits, right? Very, larger bodied pass catching tight end is what we're talking about here. Really good stuff. Something that I think this offense has frankly been missing, that is an important component. And again, not saying we don't have guys that can do it, but he might have the potential to do it better than anybody we have. Again, time will tell. So what you got on Amir there?
No, man, great things all around. Talk about 2-sport athlete. Yeah, 6'4", 223, 224 speaks for itself. But outside of that 2-sport athlete, okay, he averaged 13 points, 9 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and almost 2 steals as a junior, right? For a team, went 28-2, made the Georgia A Division 3rd round playoffs. Like, I don't know. When you look at that, 2-sport athletes, they are freaks of nature athletically. You have to be able to play 2 sports like that. And so I think he lends a lot of that. It's going to be a great piece, great fit. I agree. The blocking, sure, that's going to come with it. But at the end of the day, the body and the physicality and his athleticism, I think what's going to separate him apart. And we look at Hayden, Odom, we lost, so that's fine. He was slower than your granddaddy's molasses. That's okay. Hayden's got size on him. That's great. But Jackson's also, hopefully he has the hands to be able to catch, turn, and go, because he's going to have the athleticism.
Yeah, I think he does. I think that's what you're going to see here. And I think that'll be really good to get. So moving on, next guy, Aaron Childs, linebacker, 4-star, overall 122. Once again, what am I saying? Of the top 5 guys here, 2 are linebackers. Aha, interesting. Addressing the position of need, right? Really solid linebacker as well. his prototypical size and speed for the position, which is something currently lacks, quite frankly, outside of Shamar James. And what do I mean by that when I say that? Well, what I mean is we don't have prototypical linebackers, right? One of Mullen's biggest downfalls, in my opinion, from a recruiting standpoint, was he liked to recruit guys that could play like everywhere. Except when you can play everywhere, you can't play anywhere. That's the problem, right? This happened time and time and time again with him. Amari Burney is the classic example here. Little too small to be a linebacker, little too big to be a safety. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to put him at linebacker because he can't play safety and he's going to be really athletic, but then he's a little too small, right? And this was one of the problems all along with this. And it happened time and time and time again. And we've still got legacy guys from that same issue. I mean, frankly, Derek Wingo's a little bit in that boat, right? He's pretty small to be a linebacker. He hits hard, I'll give him that, but he's a little small to be a linebacker. So when you look at it, like this is and Scooby's frankly a little bit the same, right? And it's kind of a similar theme that you see. He's a little smaller, more athletic, but he's not really prototypical linebacker size. Shamar James is the only one out there who's really what you expect to see from a linebacker and also has the athleticism to play the position. Here's another one in Aaron Childs. Really good, really strong guy. And with him and Graham coming into the fold, I love where the talent in that room is going to get upgraded significantly. So what you got on Childs?
Yeah, no, great all around. 6 foot, 227, just under 230, whatever the number. Outside of that, I think what's going to be really good there, I agree with you, everything you said there. But the other thing too, I think he's got that we've kind of lacked a little bit as well. There is some speed. He's quick.
Yep.
He's extremely quick. And the other thing that I like about him is what I've seen. Don't get me wrong, the physicality is one thing, but also the closing speed is going to be key. But the other thing, I think when you look at what he did at Good Counsel, I think the thing about him is he was almost like quasi quarterback for the defense, right?
Yep.
He was there making calls, doing a lot of checks, and there's a lot that has to be done. We know pre-snap, and so it takes a kid that has a lot of capacity, mental capacity, to be able to do those various things. And he clearly was able to do that. So outside of that, being a captain as a junior, huge deal. And so it's one of those things where I think he's going to have, whenever he steps on the field, whatever capacity is, we're going to see it. I mean, he's going to create instant impact.
Love that call out. And that is, as we've seen, so important in AA's scheme, right? Because he asks a lot, right? He asks a lot. We're talking about complex stuff
Bingo.
out there. You got to have your
Yep.
stuff together. And I mean, that's important. So really nice call out there. Love that. All right, on to the next, Mr. Fletcher Westfall. Offensive lineman, 4-star, overall 177th ranked player, and a solid pickup at offensive line here. Should be an absolute shoe-in for the tackle position. He's already talked about that's what he's going to play. He is. I will steal your thunder on the stats here for height and weight because I know you got him. 6'8", 335. Good Lord, that is a big fella. But he has shown that he has feet that are quick enough to play at a tackle position. Kenny George. Sorry.
Oh, wow. You did it. I wondered if you would call him out.
So one of the biggest things you see for a freshman at O-line is they're not big enough to play the position. 6'8", 335, he can play the position from a size standpoint. So if he can pick some things up from the scheme side of things, I think he might even get some snaps as a freshman, kind of like what we saw with Najee Harris this year. So it's a difficult position, certainly, but I think we could actually get some help from him as a true freshman next year on the field if we needed it. And maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see what continues to happen. But at any rate, what you got on Mr. Fletcher?
No, all good things around. Yeah, the size is one thing, but the other thing I think is crucial is understanding how these guys fit into the mix. And what's tough is what I love the fact is how we stacked O-line a little bit. 5. We'll talk about this later, but 5 total from O-line. But Fletcher, I like the fact that he's 6'8". I like the fact that he's 334, but I also like the fact that he was ranked the top 5 players in the state of Virginia. All right. So when you look at that and the amount of energy, the amount of pop that he brings, that's a lot of the things that we were missing on O-line, along with continuity. but that will come. That will come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Next on the list is Mr. I don't know if I'm getting this first name right, actually, but I have Kanen Daniels. So it might be Kanen. I'm not sure. But anyway, apologies if I'm messing that up. But four-star running back out of Mississippi, overall 228 ranked player. Very solid running back here. Has both speed and power and good contact balance. So this is kind of a Napier signature back, in my opinion. Very Montrell Johnson-esque, in my opinion, though maybe a little faster than Montrell. But very solid back, sturdy. Gonna hit the right hole and do the right things, get through there and run through contact. Right, that's kind of his traits that you would see here. Another player, once again, keep saying it. Outstanding senior season, ridiculous numbers that he put up for this year comparatively to some of the stuff that he was doing. Close to 2,000 yards, I believe, as last I saw. But I think it was like 1,700 or something like that, and a bunch of touchdowns too. So don't 100% quote me on that. I'm going from memory, but but really good and another strong presence to add to what is already, of course, a very talented running back room. So what you got on Mr. Daniels?
Yeah, I'll actually back you up there, B. With Kanen Daniels, I see, believe it or not, if those of you saw Cam Carroll run at Tulane or saw him
Yep.
in the orange and blue game,
Yep.
that is another Cam Carroll-esque type
Yep.
back. The
Agreed.
thing that the thing that's awesome about him, yeah, 4-star, okay, we get that, but the fourth overall prospect from the state of Mississippi, okay, and again, the information's coming from On3. He earned Mississippi High School Athletic Association Class 5A Mr. Football as a senior. So that's an awesome
There you
deal,
go.
right?
There you
I'm
go.
gonna go. I'm gonna go a level deeper. He rushed for 2,737,
Oh, my bad. Holy cow.
29 touchdowns, including putting his team on his back. A 253-yard performance in the state championship game. Good night, game over,
My
drive home safely.
goodness, 2,700. I had my first number messed up. Goodness gracious. That is
Yep, you did.
ridiculous. Wow,
Yeah.
what a season. Okay, so yeah, so again, really, really solid there. Awesome. Great pull there. Nice stats.
I'm,
All
I'm
right,
just saying
so
he's probably tired because he's still running. But you know,
like a refrigerator is always running. So
there you go.
all right, next on the list. So this is we're gonna mix it up here, and we're gonna go to a transfer for this one. So this is Mr. Brian Taylor. Very unusual spelling of Brian, but I believe that is correct pronunciation. He is an edge.
Yep.
Again, now I haven't classified as a 4-star. It's 4-star with an asterisk. He was originally a 3-star when he came out of high school, but he went JUCO, and meaning junior college for those that don't know the term. And he is now rated as the 14th best JUCO transfer in the country, considered one of, if not the best, edge rushers available as a JUCO transfer. And he has been kind of re-rated as a 4-star prospect now coming out of that JUCO transfer class. Tremendous explosiveness, can get to the QB with ease in most cases, and he is an absolute like specimen. If you haven't seen this guy, he looks ridiculous. Um, this is a huge get. Once again, more talented edge, right? More talented edge. So now you look at McCray, Taylor, Searcy, and Collins. That'll work. That'll work, is all I have to say there. Really interested to see what that room looks like with those 4 guys in it next year. So good stuff. What do you got on Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, all good things, man. It's funny. I had the same kind of take on him as far as what he's going to be joining and where. All I can say is I feel like AA right now is just sitting back, going, like putting his fingers together, like almost like I don't know, Montgomery Burns would do when he's scheming something, because you know
Yes.
yeah, you get that. I mean, look at him, dude. 6'5", 273, 274, like fourth overall JUCO edge rusher. Like,
Yep.
uh, um, that would be nice to have, and that would be nice to choose from when you're implementing the schemes that AA does. So, yeah, awesome. Looking forward to see him hit the field and just go.
Yep, absolutely. Um, Good stuff. So next on the list is a guy I'm personally very excited about. I may be too excited about him. We'll see. But this is a guy that I've been high on for quite a while here. And it's because I love guys that can just take it and break it, right? They can anytime they touch the ball, they go to the house. And that is this guy right here. And it is Jere Hawkins, 4-star wide receiver, overall 247th ranked player. And when I say he's fast, I mean he is fast. He will almost certainly be the fastest person on the field every week that he is on the field with the Gators, and I mean both sides of the field, meaning the opposing team as well. He will also run track for us to give you an idea of just how fast I'm talking about. So we're talking like Jeff Demps style, right?
Oh yeah.
Take it back to the old school. Really interesting prospect here out of IMG. I'm really excited to have him. I think he's a fantastic get and an absolute burner. So just I can't wait to see what he does with the football in his hand, man. I just hope that whoever's throwing to him can throw it deep enough to let him go catch it.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. What you got on him?
No, you know what? 5'9", 160. He reminds me of me. No, not really. Um, 4-star recruit. Here's the thing. As far as speed, and that's the thing, right? There's football speed, there's football fast, and there's track fast, right? Big difference between the two, as I've learned over the years. But basically, he won the 60-meter dash at the 2023 Florida Indoor Championships just recently here, and was the 100 and 200-meter state champion as a sophomore in high school before he transferred to IMG up in West Virginia. So, in other words, whether it's Graham throwing to him or DJ through, hopefully they can get some good chemistry there on the sideline or the off season or practice, whatever the case might be. I have a feeling just because hopefully we'll see what the route running looks like, but I have a feeling he's going to be beating some people pretty bad and he will be wide open. Just saying.
I have a feeling too, because man, he's going to be tough to keep up with. So yeah, we'll see what the route running goes and all that stuff. I'm
Oh
with
yeah.
you there, but man, I just get him the ball in space and watch out. It's going to be fun to watch. Next on the list, and once again, addressing something that I think is not necessarily as much of a need, but we're addressing needs, right? TJ Abrams, 4-star wide receiver, overall 343rd ranked player, and another quick but dynamic wide receiver. I watched a little film on him today because I hadn't seen a lot. Good strength for his size, and I think he plays bigger. From what I saw, man, he really seems to play bigger. He's only 5'11", but looked he looked bigger than that out there. Like just the way he plays, um, size and overall the way he catches the ball and bounces off defenders and it's really kind of hard to bring down seemingly for his size. So I think that's really going to be another solid addition to again what is already a good wide receiving core. Really nice to continue to see that build up and go from there. So, what's your thought on Mr. Abrams?
Yeah, no, overall good. 5'10", buck 90 and some change, 4-star recruit. Florida local, right?
Yep.
Out of Fort Myers, ranked
Yep.
number 33, the receiver class this year by ESPN. So that is what it is. I love the fact when you look at what we have at receiver, we have Trey, we have Gene, we have Mizell, right? And now you're bringing in Hawkins, Abrams, and the other transfer we'll talk about here in a minute. But I love the fact of what we're seeing from the wide receiver position.
Yep.
And hopefully that means more balls down the field. Actually, let me rephrase that. More effective balls down the field because of
Well
a more
said.
refined play scheme.
Well said. Very well said.
Because of an offensive coordinator. No.
Well, and that too. Yes.
All right,
All
Lenny
right,
Corn. What? Huh?
moving on to one of the big flips of the day that nobody seems to be talking about is Jaden
Yeah.
Baugh, a 4-star running back out of Arkansas who was committed to Arkansas for quite some time, decommitted yesterday, and then committed to us over Alabama. I will point out because that's the two who were in the running for him when he decommitted for Arkansas. So, there is still hope that we can do some things with these guys. So I just want to throw that out there. Obviously, again, it's difficult, but we can still get it done from time to time. So again, 357th ranked player. I would call him a two threat running back, kind of a dual threat running back, because he is a fantastic pass catcher. He's actually graded out as an athlete, quote unquote, but he will play running back for sure. But he played a fair amount of receiver in high school, so he can absolutely catch the ball. Really interesting kind of you know element that he brings there. He's a solid all around back with his speed, his size, and again, good contact balance. But different look to bring to the running room here because he is 6'1". And that is definitely significantly more size as far as a height standpoint goes than anybody we currently have in that running back room. So just a little mix up there, a little change up. Be interested to see what we can do with him. I'm interested to see him get some snaps after probably next year. I don't know that he'll see the field a ton next year, but going forward, be interesting to see what Mr. Blah does. So what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, like it. It's funny when I first saw the picture, I was like, "Whoa, he looks a little bit more stout." And then I saw the on-3 picture, and believe it or not, the way that his braids are, like dreads, I'm like, man, that looks like Montreal, you
Yeah.
know. But no, great pieces. I like what you said there about the size as far as what he brings. But outside of that, 6 foot, maybe it's what a half, one, 225 to 230 pounds,
Yep.
solid. That's what
Yep.
that is, solid. So
Yep.
all I have to say, and I think Gator Nation said it earlier, but run the ball. Haha.
I love it. I love it. That's good stuff. I hadn't heard that one yet. That's good. All right, next up, another
No, okay,
transfer.
there you go.
Oh, sorry. Were you done? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I can't believe you hadn't heard that. I saw that through a couple of feeds earlier today, so just figured I'd reiterate.
No, that's good. I really hadn't. It's funny. I had not heard it yet. That's a good one. So that'll be a good one for us to start saying in a couple of years, hopefully. So, um,
Yep.
next one up, another big transfer, and I don't know. Time will tell, I guess, if it ends up being Taylor or Mr. Slackman here. That's the bigger deal. But man, I'm pretty excited about Joey Slackman. Uh, Again, defensive lineman, 4-star, rated as the 25th best transfer portal in the country. So, or best player in the portal, excuse me. So, for those that don't know, there are currently 1,400 players in the transfer portal. Wrap your head around that. 1,400 players in the portal. So basically, it's just another recruiting class in there, because that's approximately how many guys you get in a recruiting class. Maybe a few more than that. Maybe there's like 16 or 1,800, but it's ridiculous. So he's rated the 25th best player in the transfer portal. Huh, interesting. Another top 25 guy. Curious. Um, so he had a ridiculous year at Penn. Granted, it's the Ivy League. I understand that. However, he was otherworldly in what he was doing. Um, he got offers from all over the place. Everybody wanted this kid. He must have like 8 or 10 other offers from all super high level programs. And we got him. Really excited to have him. Really good stuff. Pay attention to this one. This is a great get. This is a great get. Make no mistake. Serious threat in the backfield for sacks and tackles for loss on running backs. Really, really good. Um, it's a really solid transfer. And again, addresses a position of need at defensive line. And this one's interior defensive line because he plays on the interior, not at edge. And I think that's an area where we really needed to get better with guys, getting penetration and getting the ball, right? Because we talked about it. So, what are your thoughts on Joey?
Yeah, no doubt. He's going to be a force at 6'3", 295. He's agile. Not to mention, you know, he finished his career as the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. And so people think, oh, it's the Ivy League, whatever, competition's different. I get the competition's different, but there's still a lot of talent in Ivy League. There's still a lot of big boys in Ivy League. And he did whatever he had to do to get around a lot of them to get into the backfield, period. So really, really looking forward to see him do what he's going to do in the orange and blue.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one up is another transfer, Triquez Bridges, 4-star. Again, bracing that off of his previous ranking as far as the 4-star piece goes. 102nd best transfer in the portal. So again, basing that off the 1,400 available. Solid fifth-year safety out of Oregon. And my take on this is anybody that's played for Dan Lanning can come play for our defense, in my book, because Dan Lanning knows what he's doing. and he should bring great experience and battle scars, as you like to talk about, right? To a
Yeah.
young but talented room at safety, right? This should really help make the loss of Flipsamy, whatever you want to call him, sting a little less, at least for next season, right? Because he's only got 1 year eligibility left. So, or at least I think that's right. He might have two. The COVID stuff and the red shirting and everything else. It's hard to keep it straight. He came in 19, so if he redshirted with the extra year of COVID eligibility, he actually has two. I don't know if he redshirted or not, so he could have two left. I don't know. I didn't check that, but at the end of the day, at least 1 year, possibly two here, from a guy who appears by all indications to be a pretty solid player at corner or safety, but it looks as if we're going to put him at safety. So good stuff. What do you got on Mr. Bridges?
I just like the fact of what I agree with you. You know, he's in the Oregon system. And the thing about Oregon, they play fast, right? They play
Yep.
very fast. So when you look at what he did in his 4 seasons, right, 91 tackles, 8 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, a pair of forced fumbles. And outside of that, when you look at what he did over in Alabama, three-star prospect coming out of the state of Alabama. And when you look at the other things that he's accomplished, number 16 player in total, offense and coming out of Alabama. So he's got talent. He was highly touted before, went to Oregon, great school as far as attracting talent, Nike, the Flash, all that good stuff. So I think it's going to be a great, great, great pickup. He can come in, and I think he's going to make immediate impact.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. I hope this is what we wanted to get from RJ Moten that we get from him, because we didn't get it from RJ. So hopefully
Oh,
we
good
we do
call.
we
Good
do get
call.
it
I
from
like
Bridges.
that.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yep.
that's my
Yep.
hope here. So we'll see what happens. Um Up next, we're gonna hit into the 3 stars now. First one up is Marcus Mascall, 3-star offensive lineman, overall 437th ranked player, and another solid offensive tackle here, despite the 3-star rating. So again, don't let that 3-star. The 3-star encompasses a lot of players, right? This is still a top 500 guy in the country. He is 6'4 and a half, 290. So interesting here. Little bit of diversion from the typical Billy Big Boy front, right? That is been his MO. That's not this, right? Little shorter size wise, though that's not as important, but only 290. Definitely a little smaller than some of the guys that Billy typically goes after. Very quick footed, very agile, can be a really good addition after he gains some muscle and weight and overall conditioning. Speaking of conditioning, hot off the presses, Mark Hawk just fired. Interesting note. So had to throw that one out there. What are your thoughts on Mr. Marcus here?
No, overall, good. I love how you say, yeah, he's smaller at 290. Yeah.
Well, for our O-line guys, that's tiny.
I get it, but for those to put in perspective, 6'4", 6'5", 290, that's still a very large human that moves a lot of earth. Um, so no, that's good. I love everything on him. The other thing that I enjoy as well is the lineage. His older brother Justin, I'm not sure if you saw this, is a defensive lineman, a senior at Clemson who started 3 out of the 4 years. So hopefully there's some good things there that he's been able to pass down to little brother, right? And so
Yeah,
awesome.
nice call there. Good call out there. I didn't even think of that. Good, nicely done. Um, all
Yeah.
right, next up, Mr. Josiah Davis, safety, 3-star rating, 455th overall. Again, 3-star, but top 500. So important to call that out. Up and coming threat at safety here. Still needs to add some weight. He's only 185, though that's the same thing Philsamy weighs, in fairness. But has speed and agility to play the position well and should develop significantly under AA, in my opinion. I think this is one that's very interesting. Both of these next two guys are very interesting to me. I watched a little film on both of them. And actually, the next one on the list that I'll get to in a minute is actually maybe even more intriguing. But both of these guys, I think, have the real potential to become pretty solid safeties in this program. So, what are your thoughts on Josiah?
Yeah, no, did a lot of big things up there in Nashville, Tennessee, great place, Broadway. Whew, shout out. No, but the one thing that I liked about him, especially two-way player, right? So he took shifts at quarterback, and at running back, but not in the secondary. So the one thing I enjoy about that, and people might say, what's the big deal? Okay, he's a two-way player. More specifically, when you go from playing quarterback to safety, hopefully you get a different perspective for playing from the other side of the football as far as how the checkdowns work, how the eyes work. So as far as those things, what his coaches said, he really is able to be just a ball hawk. So hopefully we see that translate here at the next level in the SEC, and he can make some immediate impact. So all good things based off what we've seen here coming out of Josiah, being a two-way player, being a ball hog, and those different things that will lend to hopefully that SEC speed as a true SEC safety.
Absolutely. And speaking of ball hawks, this is where I'm going on this next one. Gregory Smith, acquired
There you go.
today, was not previously committed, so this wasn't technically a flip, but it was a nice get today. Um, 3-star on threes, a 4-star on 247. Not sure for the difference. Sometimes that happens. So this is one where there's a kind of a differential here, and I wonder if his ranking is going to rise on three. 489th overall ranked player, yet again inside the top 500. So once again, these are higher ranked 3 stars, and I want to point that out because again, there's a lot of variance in 3-star. And don't get me wrong, we have some lower ranked ones too. But it's important to note that because when you see that breakdown of the star ratings, right? The 8 4 stars, the 8 3 stars, these guys are closer to 4 stars than 3 stars. I understand they are 3 stars, but they're a lot closer to being 4 stars than they are, say, the 1,000th best player, right? Which is still a 3 star. So that's really important to note here. So anyway, um, another solid get in the secondary here, in my opinion. 6'4", 195, and should only add to that in the conditioning program, right? Also has really good ball skills, and I mean really good ball skills. Reads the quarterback's eyes excellently, catches the ball well, high points the ball well. Has been show and it can also show his ability to run support. Seems to like to hit, Randy, from what I saw on film. So you'll be a fan of that. Uh, and should be able to really be a significant player in his time at UF. I think you might have a little diamond in the rough here. I think we might have an underrated player here from what I saw on film. I'm not an expert. I'm not a scout, but just some of the stuff I saw here and watching this tape today, I watched more on him than most of the other guys because he is not somebody that I'm as familiar with, obviously. Kind of came up late in the recruiting and stuff like that. So I watched a little more here. I really liked what I saw. What are your thoughts on Mr. Smith?
Yeah, all great all around, B. For those of you who might know Stephen Harris, he was on Swamp Kings a little bit, made an appearance. I believe he's on the 06 national championship team,
Yep.
but coached him. And he's right down there in Riverview, over in Sumner, right, Hillsborough County. The other thing that's neat about Mr. Smith is 29 tackles, right, interception, forced fumble in his senior year, but in his junior year, he was the starting quarterback. Threw for more than 1,400 yards and 14
Yep.
touchdowns. So again, another two-way player with some perspective on the offensive side of the football is seeing how the quarterback reads progressions and go from there. I
Yeah.
think I know it's tough to say because they have to process so much information on the offensive side of the football and the defensive side, but I think it lends good perspective, especially on the defensive side of the football when being a ball hawk.
Really good point. And he can play third string quarterback. So there you go.
Hey,
Um, all right, up next, another one that is a little interesting to me with the ranking, and that is Mr. Teddy Foster. This is a cornerback, 3-star, 660th overall ranked player, so a little lower, but I question this ranking. It surprises me. Great size. He's out of Cardinal Mooney. Great size, 6'2", 175. So he's very tall for a corner, and he has the speed to go with it. He can absolutely run step for step with anybody he's on. I think he has the potential to be outstanding based on what I've seen on film. I really don't know why his rank didn't rise more this season. Solid team he played for, everything else. I think this is a great get for Will Harris, and I think he's going to have a lot of talent to develop with this kid. I think Teddy's a great ad. I think he kind of flew under the radar somehow, which I don't get because, again, Cardinal Mooney, obviously, powerhouse program. So, really not sure what happened here or if I'm missing something, but I guess time will tell. But again, one that I think just has nothing but upside. What are your thoughts on Teddy?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I was wondering that earlier when I looked at everything else. When you look at the size, right? 6'2", 175. I get that. Cardinal Mooney is I mean, it's not a small school by any means. And so I was kind of thinking along the lines of you, B, as far as what happened, because based off everything else I saw, when you look at the other schools after him, it was Tennessee, it was North Carolina. I'm sure Mac Brown would have liked him. Rutgers, Michigan State. That's about it. I think this might be, potentially a diamond in the rough there. But overall, loved what I saw on film. Loved what I saw he was able to do. Again, another two-way player, right? That was able to hawk down the ball. I love the pass that he caught an 82-yard touchdown pass in his state championship game. So he's got hands, he's got speed. So a good get, a solid get.
I mean, that's my take too. Again, the ranking here is eyebrow raising to me, but hey, it is what it is, and sometimes the rankings are wrong, right? I mean, they really are. Sometimes they miss.
Oh
So
yeah,
we'll see if that's the case here. Next up is your boy. It's your guy Mackay. and we're probably messing his name up for the record. I'm not sure we're pronouncing it right, but Mackay Burrow is how we've been saying it, so we're
yeah,
going to keep saying it that way, and we may
yeah,
find out
yeah.
later that's wrong. And apologies if it is Mackay. So our bad. But he is a three-star defensive lineman. He is an interior defensive lineman, 753rd overall ranked player. And again, just a huge individual. I'll let Randy give you the the numbers, but another great space filler in the middle of the D line here. Um, but he has also shown agility, and Randy's brought this up before, to go with that size, right? So be very interesting to see how he develops over time at this position. I'm interested to see what happens with him. What are your thoughts on Mr. Burrow?
That's the thing, man. So the thing about him at 6'5" and a half, maybe 6'6", 355, is the amount of, and I've said this before, but the amount of pop he has on the ball. I love what he does. I love his activity. I especially like his hands. That's the other thing too. The feet's got to be good, but the hands have to be really active, especially when you look at what you are trying to do to get into the backfield. And I feel like he has that. When you look at him, yeah, you see a big man, but also you see someone on a mission. He plays with that posture. He plays with that stance. So that's what I like more so out of it, is the posture and what he brings to that D line.
Nice. I like it. I like it. I know you've been high on him, so I'm excited we ended up signing him. I think it's really neat that he, decommitted and then said, hey, they really still showing me love. I like it. I'm coming back. So
It is.
very unusual to see that happen, but I love that we did have it happen. So
Huge, huge, and that's the other thing too. When you look at, okay, and that's the thing. When he first decommitted, we're thinking, okay, he's, you know what, not a big loss, not a terrible loss. He's homesick. He's probably going to be better in Georgia. That's fine, okay. And then it was really interesting, right? He just all of a sudden he's like, okay, yeah, let me come back for a visit. Let me come back for another visit. And when not to quote him directly, but it was just like as if I never left. It was never awkward.
yeah.
I was always welcomed back, and it just felt so homey. It felt like Georgia, and so there you go, and we'll take it, kid.
Yeah, I love it. Good stuff. Um, Next up on the list is another transfer, the last transfer, I believe, oh no, not the last transfer. I apologize. But next up is Shamir. I'm not sure how you pronounce the first part. Dyke. He is a three-star wide receiver. He is not ranked as a transfer, so after you get past a certain point with the transfers, they don't rank him as a transfer anymore. But he was the 660th overall ranked player coming out of high school in 2020. Formerly played with Graham Mertz at Wisconsin. Interesting. So should be good connection there, at least for this season going forward. And his size is just over 6 feet. Should allow him to play on the outside of this offense. So interesting. It kind of feels like a potential replacement for what we're losing in Ricky. Obviously, not the same size as Ricky. I believe Ricky was at least 6'1", maybe 6'2". So you don't quite have that same height advantage there, but I think you've got a little more size to put on the outside here, right, and be able to get another quality player that again has chemistry with Mertz, which is interesting to be able to get out there and play outside in this offense. So good stuff here. I think this was a solid get. Again, we lost Isaiah Williams. We backfilled it with this guy. Like to me, it was I mean, to me, it was a wash. I really didn't see anything that caused me to lose sleep over losing him when that happened. So once again, there was a big to do about that, and nobody mentioned that we picked up this transfer today, kind of out of nowhere. So again, I get it's not the same because freshman versus a either a redshirt junior or a senior here. But regardless, I'm not losing sleep over it. Like I'm just not. So, what do you got on Shamir here?
Yeah, yeah. Shamir Dyke, spot on. B. When you look at Ricky Slick Rick, as he commonly goes by in these here parts, 6'2", 6'2" and a quarter, a buck 95 to 200 pounds. Right, so got some physical, got some meat. Shamir's close to that 6 foot and change at 185 pounds. Right, really close comparison in the sense of familiarity. I love what Pearsall did with Mertz when he said, "Oh, you think about playing here? Do me a favor, watch me, and I'll change your mind. I'll make you want to come here at the end of this practice."
Yep.
With Graham probably's talking to Shamir back and forth. Hey, what are you doing, man? Well, guess what? If you come to Gaines Vegas, you never have to shovel sunshine. Oh,
That's right.
okay, cool. And so familiar connection, familiarity. He's seasoned, right? He's seasoned. So hopefully that's going to be a good thing, bringing to the leadership component and the stability component to that wide receiver core. So I like it. I like it.
Nice, nice. Next up is a really interesting little wild card. I don't know if I even want to, and the other wild card is his last name. So it's Noel. You want to take a stab at Noel's last name? I don't even know.
Okay, so I'm Port Jagan.
Port Jegan. I like it. That end's got to be silent. It just has to be Port Jegan.
Yeah,
Port Jegan. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with because that first in after the T just it can't be pronounced. I can't imagine it is. So yeah, I'm with that. So he is a 3-star offensive lineman. His overall rank is 1,083rd. And before you go saying holy cow, that's getting way down there. Interesting stat on that. That is his rank as the overall player in the country, despite being from out of the country. Excuse me. More significantly, though, he was not ranked at all at first because he was not playing in this country, which that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But once he got on the recruiting ranking services, he was ranked somewhere around 1,500. So over the course of this season, he has risen 500 spots. That's pretty significant. So
that's
clearly
a thing.
something's going on there that's very intriguing with this kid. There's again been significant moving on his scouting, and he's shown great mobility for his size at 6'5", 315, and his position of playing guard. So super interesting pickup here, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens and how it works out. Really interesting get on this one, and totally off the radar. You know, if you don't know, out of Germany is where he's coming from. Fascinating pick here, or signee, I guess I should say. It's not a pick, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Noel?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Schwabish, Germany. Very interesting, right? 6'5", 337, 335 to 340. The other looks, quote unquote, if you want to call it that he got, Liberty, South Carolina, Auburn. Okay, that's fine. He's shown that he has some agility. So that's good. Very, for a man that size, based off what I was able to see, good hands. He's able to move the feet. He's got some flexibility. So again, bend, not break. The other thing that's unique about that, I was going to point out, and you did, how quickly, how much he's risen, right?
Yeah, big
Overall,
time.
yeah, overall number 39 offensive tackle prospect in the 2024 class. And so it's funny. You don't normally think of a football player coming out of Germany. You think of the other kind of football. Here in the States, we call soccer. And typically we reserve the all international team to Gator basketball. But either way, I think it's going to be a good pickup. I think he's going to blend well. And outside of that, coming from a place like Germany, when you look at the discipline, when you look at the honor that some of these people play with, I think it's going to translate very well in Billy's system.
Yeah, good call out. I like that. Interesting point there from a psychology perspective. Um,
Yeah.
next up is Mr. Mike Williams. Again, 3-star offensive lineman, overall rank 1,320th. He's an offensive tackle, and again, good to add yet another offensive tackle to the room. Right, biggest thing I think he's going to bring here at this point, based on what we know, is just additional to the position, right? Might only be in practice, not really sure at this point. And again, these rankings don't always amount to what we think they will, and it might be that he turns out to be a player. I mean, Austin Barber was a 3-star. I don't know what his overall ranking was, but he was a 3-star, and now he starts for us, and he's very decent, right? So you never know. You never know how these things work out. So, but for now, it's more depth, as you called out, and you were going to mention earlier, and I won't steal your thunder. We got one more to go, but a lot of offensive linemen. So, what do you got on Mike Williams?
Oh no, you're good, man. Call it out. All good in the hood. Another just towering human being. Like, and here I am, like, the tallest person in my family in 4 generations at a whopping 5'10", a buck 85. Again, a 6 footer, 312, 14, 15 pounds. Again, coming out of, I think this is the second one out of Maryland, so that's good. They got a lot of grown people up there. Maybe a lot of crab cakes. I don't know. Number 31 offensive tackle, right? But again, beefing up the O line. We need to beef up the O line. We need to get these guys skilled. We need to get them coached up, and we need to get them all in unison. Playing with continuity is going to be the biggest thing for that O-line moving forward. And especially if Lagway, again, we know he's fast, we know he can run. We just don't want him running for his life in the coming years.
That's right. Football and crab cakes. That's what Maryland does. Sorry, I couldn't resist. So last but not least, and really the only reason I put him last on this list, and it's probably not right, but I didn't have a way to rank him otherwise in here, is the transfer from San Diego State, Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. He was a 3-star offensive lineman coming out, and again, no transfer ranking, but he has had a significant improvement from his 1,808th overall ranking from when he was originally ranked by On3 in 2019. So significant improvement from there. I think when you look at his overall grade now, it's like an 86 or an 87 is where they have him at for his grade out right now. Again, on a scale of 1 to 100, right? He would have been significantly lower than that ranking out at this, number of 1,800 at that time. He would have been closer to like an 80. So significant movement up in as far as how they're rating him, but they don't have any new star ratings or any transfer ratings on him. But he's shown last year at San Diego State to be a solid offensive tackle, and I think he can come in and play. And we really need him to, right? So again, solid transfer pickup here to have a potential starter coming in at a dire position of need for us, quite frankly, right? So really, really good stuff there. What are your thoughts on Brandon?
Yeah. Besides having 3 different names, outside of that, 6'7", 315 pounds. I dig that. I saw that he appeared in 38 games for the Aztecs. He started 37 out of the 38. So I like that. I like that he's battle tested. So that proves very well. I like the fact that he started at left and right tackle.
Yep.
So between tackle and guard, we know the significant differences between those two positions being just 1 or 2 players over. That's fine. So for that matter, when you look at it being a 3-year starter, I like the fact that he's been battle tested. And we talked about this earlier in the season regarding our lines. When we look at an O lineman or D lineman, that's a freshman or a sophomore. Don't get me wrong, you can be athletic, but at that position, the test of time and being in the trenches just gets you better. It just does. It prepares you for more.
Absolutely.
I love So I love the fact also that he's going to be competing with Barber, George, and Cameron Wade. So I can't wait to see that battle, how it unfolds, and where he sits on that line.
And I could see a restructure of that line where all 4 of those guys play with Slaughter at the center, and I think I'd be fine for the record.
Yeah.
Because I think that we've talked about George being better at guard. I know Barber is better, I think, at right tackle than left tackle, right? So if he can play left tackle, Barber can play the
100%.
other, and Cam can play, right or left guard, whichever, right? And then George can play the other guard, and we got Slaughter in the middle. That's an O-line I'd like to see, right? Based on what I know right now. Remains to be seen if that's what's the best fit. And frankly, Najee Harris might have something to say about that too, right? And possibly Roderick Kearney, right? We don't know. So there are options there. And I think that room does look better going forward next year than what it did this year. I really do. And it frankly, it better, because otherwise we're in big trouble. So that wraps up the player analysis and everybody that we signed today. Which again, it's not some, you know, shabby no nothing get here. These are a lot of decent guys and some really exceptional ones. And again, like you mentioned, addressing positions of need with volume and talent, you know, depending on which we're talking about. So having
Yeah.
said all that, let's get into the next piece here. What do we still need? What are your thoughts on what we still need based on that? Obviously, most of that probably coming for this year, not probably, will be coming this year from the transfer portal. But
Mhm.
and then going forward, what do we still need from a recruiting standpoint, going forward? Where are you at with that?
Yeah. So I feel like quarterback is locked up fairly well. No problem. Wide receiver, we have personnel, right? We're going, 6 deep on the roster at wide receiver. Running back, we're going 6 deep on the roster running back. Tight end, it'd be nice to have another get on tight. We got one guy, right? Of course, we talked about Amir, but outside of Amir, probably would like to see somebody else there, um, to add a little bit more depth there. The DB position, we talked about it well enough with Josiah, with Teddy, with Bridges, with Greg Smith. So that's good. D lineman, we added 4. So defensive back, we added 4 today. Defensive line, we added 4 today. Offensive line, we added 5 today.
Yep, it's big. It's big.
Much needed beef. Good deal. Linebacker position, we added 2. To be honest with you, B, I would have liked to have seen another one come out
Well,
of
you
the
know,
linebacker position. I know, it is what it is. So I was hoping for
you can't buy them all, can you? Oh, I'm sorry. That's supposed to be win them all. I misspoke.
well, unless you were quoting Nick Nolte when he said, "Yeah, they've got the best players money can buy." I'm sorry.
That's
Um,
it. That's it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, was hoping one more from the linebacker position. That was what it was. I would like to see what we are addressing on the special team side. Crawshaw is a stellar punter, right? But there's no depth there. Talk about depth. Mahalik. Mahalik's gone again. In 2 years, he was 15 out of 24, 62.5%. Right. And the one thing that I will say is he did keep our national scoring streak alive in the bowl game last year. I get it, albeit we scored 3 points thanks to him. Um, Outside of Trey Smack, there's a little bit of opportunity there. So whatever we do, I think that is another position of need. So for me, I'm looking at tight end. I'm looking at the linebacker position. Definitely the safety position to fill some of that there. And then looking at the kicking game. Those are my opportunities there. What you got, B?
Cool. I like it. Interesting way to break that down. So just so you know, I actually do think we filled either kicker or punter or possibly both. I can't remember. I think it's actually both, but I could be wrong there with preferred walk-ons. Just so you know, a couple of kids that have come in to kind of fill up, you know, the backup spots there for the guys. So we do have some depth there should there be an injury. I'm 99% sure I saw that for I know one, and I honestly think it was both. So I do think we have some kids that have come in there, but they're just not going to eat up scholarships. So just so you know, they are
And,
potentially
and,
there.
and, and I get that. It's just tough for the walk on when you look at the pressure involved in the kicking uh,
Sure.
position.
Yeah, I hear you there, and we probably do need to potentially look at you know, another recruit there. I agree. So that is something to look at, and
That's
that
all.
is one
Yeah.
potentially you could still get, right? Because that's not sought after like these other ones are, obviously. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but at any rate, good call out there. As far as the portal goes, just, you know, calling out specific positions that I'd still like to see. I'd like to see another O lineman, preferably a center, because I question our depth at center. Because, you know, this year we had Kingsley and Slaughter, and when Kingsley was hurt, Slaughter played, and you know that was all pretty much good and fine. And then when he was in, Slaughter backed him up, and we were okay. Next year we don't have Kingsley, so what happens when Slaughter gets hurt if he does? Which, don't get me wrong, I don't want to happen, but it could happen, right? And then you got to rotate him a little anyway, right? That the backup there, I'm not as confident in. I don't even know who it is, to be honest with you.
Good point.
So
Good point.
it's that's something I wouldn't mind seeing. even if it's not somebody, and again, it's somebody to bring in as a backup, not a starter, not like the need at tackle, right? That we worked on filling here. But I'd like to see that, and I'd also like to see another linebacker. To your point, right? We didn't only end up getting 2 in the class, even though we should have had 3, but whatever. Um,
Yeah.
I'd like to see a linebacker come in and transfer, and hopefully a solid one that could come in and play some relief, right? Kind of like what Manny Nunnery did for us this year. I thought Nunnery was pretty solid, honestly, in playing that role.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'd like to see something like that. But otherwise, I'm very happy with overall what we've done on the front as far as the transfer portal goes. This is a solid transfer class so far. A lot of people were giving us a lot of grief because we didn't get a lot early on. It worked out just fine so far. Again, a couple more things that I think need to be addressed, but Billy's doing okay in the portal. And I think that's going to be really important going forward. So, what I think we still need to see going forward is from a recruiting perspective, it's hard to see all these guys flip, right? But I think the message that we're getting here is if Florida's going to do it this way, this is what's going to happen, at least to some extent. We're not going to be able to keep a top tier class, right? At the end of this thing, as long as these rules stay the same. So Billy is going to have to alter his strategy here, at least to a degree, and be willing to get some kind of talent through the transfer portal. He's proved he can do that. He's shown that. Ricky, Graham, I mean, these are transfer guys, right? He's shown he knows how to identify talent and get it here through the portal without question, right? Montrell, Osiris Torrance, right? I mean, those guys might be a little exceptions, right? Because they were, COVID year recruit guys that he got to Louisiana. So it's a little different. But he's shown he knows how to identify talent and get it here through the portal. I think he's going to have to do a little more of that than he's been doing. And for the record, I think he's shown that with what he's done so far this year, especially with Slackman. I'm going to restate it. Slackman's a huge get. That is a big
Yep.
deal. And that really matters. And so stuff like that are the kind of things we need to start paying more attention to, addressing positions of need as they're needed, and doing that again after, the class is signed. And these next couple of weeks, while the portal's still open, are going to be really, really important. So I really want to see where that kind of all shuffles out and shakes out as things go forward, and go from there. So um
Nice.
that to me is going to be something that I think he needs to, like I say, kind of look at his strategy and maybe alter a little, because if we're going to keep, which for the record, I want us to. I don't want us to change our ethics, right? That's not what I'm for. But at the end of the day, it does put us at a disadvantage right now. It just does, at least to a degree, maybe more than a degree, maybe a couple degrees. So, we got to do something about that at some point. So with that, let's kind of wrap this thing up. I really enjoyed taking a look at this with you, kind of going in depth on the class and what it can mean for the future of the program. Try not to let the ranking let you down too much, Gator Nation. I really try not to focus on it too much, because I really think that what we did get is very solid. And keep perspective that we continue to do things the right way, despite what others might be doing. And that matters. On some level, that matters. Even if it does mean that there are certain guys that we don't get. Okay, so be it. I'd rather get guys that want to be here. What was it Napier said? Either you're all in or good luck to you, right? So be it.
Yep.
So be it. I mean, that's just the way that I feel about it. And if we can still land guys like McCray and like Lagway with that attitude, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It is what it is at the end of the day. And I would still rather get some top talent and let the others, go chase whatever money they want to chase, and or whatever it is. I don't want to be too accusatory, but I know some of that's going on. So at the end of the day, it's going to be what it's going to be, and we're going to get who we're going to get. But if we can still get some of these guys, I mean, I'm happy with that. Again, I'm not happy with the 16th class. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to be unhappy with what we have. I'm not going to be ungrateful, right, about the guys that did decide to come here. I'm tremendously grateful to them. I love that they see what is going on here and what is trying to be built, and I'm excited to have them be a part of it. I really am. So that's what I'm going to choose to focus on, and not let the other stuff, all the other noise, get in the way. So, what are your closing thoughts here?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well said. I will echo that 1000%. Remember earlier today, you asked me my overall thought, and I refer to it as turbulence in the plane,
Yeah.
right? Up, down,
Yep.
left, right, or the stock market, whatever have you, up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards. And I think it's interesting because our emotions get so high and low, the ebbs and the flows. When you look at the pieces we got today, I agree. We should have a posture of just Thanksgiving, despite the season, what the season is, what it means this time of year. Got some great things. Like you, head scratcher, like for sure most people, maybe most people, some people, 16th, really? Huh? Fine, whatever. We've got a lot of great pieces. A lot of great
Absolutely.
pieces. We saw the beef up on offensive line. Can we get another piece or two? I love the call out there at the center position. Slaughter. He got some scars last year. Got some scar tissue. Interesting to see what'll happen this year. Hopefully he stays healthy, but with the rotations, yeah, center's huge. Center's huge.
Yep.
Outside of that, got some playmakers, got some speed, got some people with class. And the other thing is,
Yeah. Love
another
that.
great point in the sense of how this program is being built, why it's being built this way. It takes time. It takes time. Hopefully, the inner pieces, the personnel pieces, the extracurricular pieces, the off the field pieces, people are seeing the development of that and seeing the direction it's trending and going. And here's the thing, can you blame Princely? Can you blame Trevor for going to chase money? How can you? Who knows what they were thinking? Who knows why they were thinking what they were thinking? But again, if all this other mess was put into their head because of all the noise, as you mentioned, of, hey, come here, we have this, we have that, we have this, you're getting paid more, you have this opportunity, we have this contract, we have these relationships, so be it. So be it. If you're on the fence, this is probably not the school for you. Not being cocky, not being arrogant, just calling a spade a spade.
That's right.
Doing it the right way. So I couldn't echo it more. I dig it.
Love it. Good stuff, man. Yeah, we'll see where it leads us, but the one thing that I think we can say at the end of the day that we're going to have here, and maybe it doesn't mean as much as it once did or as much as it used to or whatever, but it still matters to me, and that's that this program has integrity, and I'm proud to say that. So that it may not matter, it may not matter that much in the win-loss column sometimes, but it still matters somewhere, and I think that's pretty cool. So, with that, we'll let everybody wrap this one up and call it a day, and give you our sign off here, and let you know that wherever you are and whenever you may be listening, we appreciate you taking the time, and we'll see you around, Gator Nation.